How's everybody? Good? All right, let's try this. How many of you have had no cups of coffee today? How many of you had 1, 2, 3? Whoa. How are y'all doing? Do you need to stand up while we're doing this? 4. Come on, own it. 5? Okay, we're a 3-cupper topping out here and here. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Tanya. I know we have lots of first-timers today. We are so glad that you're here. I would love to meet you. I'm going to be right by this door afterwards, so I hope you'll come by and introduce yourselves. And I know you're going to find, I believe it's no coinkydink, the table that you're sitting at, and that there's going to be some great relationships formed this season. So we're so glad you're here. We can get you caught up. So be sure and meet me after we're together this morning. So every week I've been doing kind of a love quiz, so that's super fun. So what we're going to do today, this is going to be a group effort instead of an individual effort. So as a group, I want you to come up with the 10 animals that are in love for life, that mate for life. So table leaders, make the list. I'm going to start a countdown timer right now. You've got 1 minute, 10 animals that mate for life. Here we go. I hope you're not Googling it. That's it. Okay, here we go. You ready? Didn't anyone put elephants? Because that's wrong. But I so wanted it to be elephants, but it was not. All right, first one, beavers. I know, swans, bald eagles. The albatross, of course. How many of you put the gibbon's monkey? All right. The French angelfish. This is an interesting one. The gray wolf. Penguins. We love our penguins. Barn owls. I love them too. Canadian geese, the river otter, and of course, the turtle dove. All right, how many of you got 1? 2. How many groups got 2? How many got 3? 4. 5. 6. 7. Oh, we are not up on our animals that mate for life. 8. 9. 10. If you got 10, you Googled it. All right, well, good job, you guys. That was just a little bit of trivia that I think we need to know. So at our West End campus, you guys, which we have this same group downtown at our downtown campus, and I didn't do this quiz with them. I did the top 10 dating apps with them, and I stumped them, and I was proud of that. So the most we got was 8 of 10. Do you want me to do that with you next time? I'll do it. It was rough in there. All right, so I'm going to jump. If it's your first time, please grab your notes for this week and follow along. Get a pen because I'm going to ask you to highlight things and underline things. And I want to review. Did anyone take the love language quiz again? Was anyone any different than you were before? Oh, interesting. Did you take it for your kids? I thought that was super helpful to take it for someone else too. I hope you were able to put on your patience outfits and you were better prepared for the week with the daily patience that you needed all week. I always say don't pray for patience because, yeah, that might happen. For those of you who needed enduring patience and still need enduring patience during this season, I really hope you were encouraged to know that you're not alone. I need enduring patience right now as well, so you're not alone in that. In fact, I think I told you that my words for 2021, you pick a word of the year. I picked 2 because overachiever. My words were carry on, and then I got to January of 2022, and I'm like, wow, what's happening now? So I picked carry on. So I'm still carrying on. It's like enduring patience. So we want to move on in the love chapter. We want to look at some other ways that we can love people well, beginning with the next attribute, which is being kind. I love this word. And just like the love makes a fingerprint in your life, so does being kind. Kindness leaves a fingerprint in our lives as well. So let's jump into the verse. It's 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 5. I want to read it again. It says, if I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but I don't have love, I'm just a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have prophetic powers, I understand all mysteries and all the knowledge. If I have all the faith to remove mountains, but I don't have love, I'm nothing. If I give away everything I have, if I deliver up my body to be burned, but I have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and what? Yeah, underline it. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant, and it's not rude. So let's start by talking about kindness. Now, kindness, it actually is sprinkled all throughout the Bible, and it's listed in Galatians 5, 22 and 23 as one of the fruits that we're called to produce through the power of the Spirit of God. So did you know that there's actually a World Kindness Day? It's November the 13th. Did anybody celebrate that? I don't know, it's a good day. Not to digress, but did you know there's a day for just about everything? I'm going to prove that to you. In February alone, the first was one of my favorites. It was Dark Chocolate Day. The third was the Day the Music Died Day. That's weird. The fourth was National Bubblegum Day. The 11th was, do you know it? Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day. Did you celebrate that? All right. The 13th was National Pork Rind Day. So my question is, who thinks of these and who gives them the authority to designate this? I don't know. Who makes these up? Now, all of us experience kindness differently, but I believe both kind words and kind actions have equal impact on us, yeah? And of course, children, they don't learn kindness from going to school or lessons on being kind. They learn kindness by watching us and others display some kind of kindness. The word kind in the Bible, and I want you to underline this in your notes, it means goodness of heart that then shows itself in action. Goodness of heart that shows itself in action. In our culture, I think this could simply look like adults playing nicely together. That'd be a good look on us. Other times, kindness is more intentional. It means, underline this, actively seeking out specific ways that we can show kindness to the people around us, whether we know them or maybe they're even strangers. So I'm married to one of the kindest people in the world, and he's in particular kind to strangers. So I'll give you an example of that. I really like to be on time. Some of you know that about me. So if we're headed somewhere in the car, we've allowed enough time that we're going to make sure we're on time. So what I know about Ken is if we're driving along and he sees someone on the side of the road, he's probably going to stop. So just a little bit about me, there are times when I see the person on the side of the road first, and what I'm thinking is, oh dear, I hope he doesn't see that person because I know we're gonna stop and then we're gonna be late, and I just don't have a lot of patience for that. Anyway, so kindness is something that we intentionally choose to put on, just like patience. So remember that list of clothing in Colossians 3:12. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, you must do what? You say it. Yeah, clothe yourselves with, here's the list, tender-hearted mercy, kindness, underline it, humility, gentleness, and then what we talked about last week, patience. And I love how when we do that, it will also impact how we communicate with others. In fact, Proverbs 31 describes this amazing woman who it says opens her mouth in wisdom, and when she does it, the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. So this woman has some kind of a kindness filter on her tongue so that when she opens her mouth, whatever she says is filtered through a kindness grid. Now, how much would you pay to own a kindness grid? Like if you could order it on Amazon and you just bought it, we all just had it, it went over our mouths, that would make for an amazing thing in some relationships. I think it would sell out in minutes, right? If that was out there. Proverbs 3:3 says this, don't ever forget, underline it, kindness and truth. In fact, wear them, kind of like a necklace, write them on your heart as if it were on a tablet. And when we speak in wisdom or truth, people are just better able to receive our input when what we say is then offered with kindness. Kindness is what opens our ears to listen, isn't it? And I love how wisdom and truth and kindness, they all live together. So we don't sacrifice wisdom or truth on the altar of kindness or kindness on the altar of wisdom and truth. They all work together. And this makes sense because when they're all working together, they become, underline this, the most effective catalyst for change. And kindness and forgiveness actually work well together also. Look at Ephesians 4:32. It says, underline it, kind to one another, tenderhearted, and doing what? Forgiving each other just as God in Christ also has forgiven you. And in my experience, just one act of kindness can actually change someone's entire day. I know that has happened to me so many times. We had someone contact us who doesn't go to River Point Church a couple of months ago, and they told us the story of how they were having their, truly not joking, their worst day ever. And they were in line in Starbucks, and the person in front of them who happened to have an RPC sticker on their car bought their coffee, and they said it just turned their whole day around. It's an act of kindness to a total stranger. It's also interesting that kindness is positioned as the opposite of being quarrelsome and harsh. Look at this in 2 Timothy 2:24. It says, the Lord's servant must not quarrel. Instead, he must be kind to everyone. So the opposite, able to teach and not resentful. So remember last week we talked about how exhausting it is to live or work around someone who's always arguing. So doing the kind thing is basically to stop being so argumentative and giving everyone around us a break. And the truth in all this is that it circles back to issues of the heart that each and every one of us really needs to think about. Look at Luke 6:45. It says, and I want you to underline this verse, it's such a great verse. Out of the overflow, that's a good word, of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of what overflows of the heart, the mouth speaks. Have you ever said unkind words or responded in an unkind way, and afterwards you just went, whoa, wow, I can't even believe I said that. Where did that come from? I don't think we forget that. And I tell you that because when I say that, I can go all the way back, I would say 13 years, it's terrible, to an unkind word I said to a coworker in Dallas. I remember as soon as I said it going, oh dear, I can't even believe you said that, Tanya. And I picture it as a tube of toothpaste. If you squeeze from the middle and too much comes out and it just kind of goes like that, and there it is on the counter, like, well, shoot a monkey, look at that. And then you want to get it back in there because you don't want to waste the toothpaste, but there's no way to suck it back in. And that's how it is with unkind words, isn't it? They just kind of plop out there, and there they are for everybody to hear. And I think social media, don't you think? I think social media has made it easier because of the anonymity attached to it to say unkind things. So if you have pause in saying it in person, I certainly wouldn't say it in writing just because somehow it feels safer. And frankly, even if we don't participate in negative posting, just scrolling through it can feed our minds and our hearts with so much negativity that it begins to control our thinking, which again spills out in how we treat others. I mean, have you ever thought, why am I so angry right now? Or why am I so negative right now? I would look back at the scrolling and to see what you've been feeding your mind with. So if you find yourself heading down a negative path mentally, or there's a lot of things coming out sideways, like the tube of toothpaste, I would encourage you to do this. I love this prayer that David prayed when he had a lot going on and a lot of negative things to think about. He prayed this in Psalm 139. He said, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Put me to the test and know what's in there. Know my anxious thoughts. See if there's anything hurtful in there. And then lead me in your way, in the everlasting way." So this is a call for me to not only be self-aware, but to pause and let God speak into my attitudes and where it all starts. So living a life of love means being patient. It means being kind. And let's finish with another one. How about the end of the verse says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude. Now, along with kindness, the love chapter takes on envy, comparison, boasting, arrogance, and basic rudeness, which I think that's quite the combination of things. And we're going to save jealousy and envy and comparison for this summer, which is a little preview of something cool we're going to do this summer. But I wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about arrogance and humility. I think they're related. In 1 Peter 5:5, and watch this, it says, all of you, how many? Everybody do what? Clothe. Underline it again. Clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God actually opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he can lift you up in due time. So again, the common theme running through all of these attributes of love is the idea of clothing ourselves, of putting on these attributes. And many of us have a signature look. I mean, it could be your shoes or your jeans, your style of jeans, or maybe you're a headband person. But what if our signature look was humility or patience or kindness? That'd be amazing. And this verse is strong because it says that God actually stands in opposition to arrogance. But his heart is to lift us up when we clothe ourselves and act in humility. So loving others looks like choosing to put that on, to put on humility. The word humble in these verses, I want you to underline this. In the original language, so the New Testament is written in Greek, it actually means, circle this, to lie low or to rank under, to lie really low. So this is important. It's both a posture and it's a position. It's a posture and a position from which God can lift us up. Romans 12:3 says this, and I'll put my name in here, but you could put yours there at the beginning. Tanya, don't think of yourself more highly than you ought. Rather, think of yourself with sober judgment. This means have a proper estimation of yourself in accordance with the faith that God has distributed to you. And in Philippians 2, verse 3, it says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. So loving others with a humble mindset requires a raised level of awareness that it's really not all about us. And again, this is where we intentionally change the grid that we look through, and we shift our thinking from, we're the ones putting up with all those other people out there, to perhaps there's other people putting up with us instead. And they're offering us the grace and the kindness we would hope to receive. And for those of us who are kind of self-proclaimed experts on all the things, I think we really need to be careful, because arrogance likes to stand really, really close to those who seemingly know it all. And as a warning, this is not just the words that we say. It can also be an attitude that then leads to a look, or it leads to a tone. So you know that arrogant, condescending look, don't you? Let's do it. Everybody do their arrogant, condescending look. Go ahead. Okay, it looks terrible in here right now. All right. Now, a humble mindset is also a curious mindset. We said last week that having a curious mindset will always require patience. So they work together. In fact, underline this in your notes because this is an important segue. It goes, sometimes our impatience, think about it, is what opens the door to arrogance, which can then lead us to being judgmental and then acting with unkind and rude behavior, which was on the list as well, yeah? It really comes full circle, and it is not a good look on any of us. So I want to take a final look at our verse before we go to our groups. So watch this. 1 Corinthians 13:5, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or, circle this word, rude. I don't know, you guys. I think the rudeness level has gotten higher, hasn't it? I don't know. Instead of rude, some translations say this, underline it, does not dishonor others, or it does not act unbecomingly. I don't use that word much, unbecomingly. I don't know if you use that, but my grandmother used that word a lot. So she may or may not have said to me, well, that's not becoming of a young lady. That's a little stereotypical, or that's unbecoming of a young lady. So I'm going to give you a story on myself of when I was unbecoming of love, because I think that's what the verse is saying. So a couple years ago, I was in Michael's, and I was ordering a frame, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted a 9x12. I wanted a gray mat. I knew I wanted a metal black thing around it. So I went to the counter knowing what I wanted, and I started talking to the gal behind the counter, and I mentioned the size that I wanted, and she said, well, you know, I think maybe a 10x13. And I said, well, no, I want a 9x12. And she said, well, I don't know. I really think a 10x13. So then I started enunciating it. Do you ever do that? Yeah, like, 9x12. And sometimes we say it. Some people get louder at that point. I start whispering. No, 9x12. Did you see my face change? So now I have the look. I've gotten with the arrogant look. And now, did you hear my tone? All of a sudden the tone changes. No, the gray. I don't want the blue. I want the gray one. So I'm in the middle of this conversation. My tone has changed. I'm enunciating. I'm a little bit whispering. My facial expression has changed. And I hear this, hi, Tanya. Oh, hi, I'm Jan. I'm in women's small groups. So busted, right? Like, oh, dear. So all of a sudden, oh, yeah, 10x13 is great. I love blue. I don't need gray anymore. We totally changed everything. Like, but you know what I'm talking about, you guys. It's so, we can get there so quickly, can't we? So I wrote this in your notes, and I wanted you to just look at it on paper. I got impatient, then I judged, because that's what arrogance is, isn't it? And I became arrogant, and then I acted with an unkind tone, which was rude and unbecoming of love. And then love was lost on me, you guys. So I want us to talk about this in our groups. I think we have a lot to talk about because we don't want to be rude women, that's for sure. I love you guys so much. Have fun with this. So I wanted to close with our fun love story of the week. Are you ready? This one's a doozy. So several years ago, I was single. I was newly single, didn't really want to be single. I was managing this luxury retail store in Aspen, Colorado. It was a crystal store, not like crystals, but we sold jewelry and beautiful crystal objects and chandeliers and lighting and all these incredibly expensive French things. Well, Valentine's was coming around. It was my first Valentine's to be newly single. And I wasn't really expecting how hard this was going to be, but every day for a couple weeks, men would come in and they were shopping for wonderful things for the people that they loved. And I found myself really just a little bit sad, just, wishing somebody was shopping for me. It was a really tough season. So the day before Valentine's Day, this guy comes in. And by the way, we used to have a lot of celebrities come in. And sometimes you'd recognize them, sometimes you wouldn't. Well, this guy walks in. He's I'm telling y'all, this was the hottest guy that had ever walked into the store. And the whole staff is like, no, I got him. No, I got him, Tanya. And I'm like, okay, who's really up? Because everybody's fighting for this guy. So they're in the back trying to Google, who is this guy? You know, and then one of my staff is like, she's like sweating. She's helping this guy. But it's the sweetest thing because he is shopping for his wife and he wants to find the perfect thing. And I'm telling you, I bet he was there. He was there a good 45 minutes, and he was just trying to find the right thing. And he's looking at the jewelry, and he's looking at these beautiful little objects, and he finally lands on this incredible crystal paperweight because he wanted her to know at work, be reminded of how much he loved her. And we're all like, oh my gosh. So we get it all, and he's so excited about it, and he's found the perfect thing. So we get it all wrapped up. We had this beautiful packaging. We got it all wrapped up for him. And then I went home that night, and I was so happy for this lady, but I was just still sad, that I didn't have someone who wanted me buy me a beautiful crystal heart. So the next day, we all come into work, and you start tearing down all your merchandising for Valentine's Day and stuff. And this woman comes in. This very attractive woman comes in, but she has a really bitter look on her face, and she's got the box, y'all. And she comes in, and she opens up the box, and she says, I need to return this. She goes, I don't know what my husband was thinking. If he thought I would actually like this, I don't know why he even got this. And we're all like, now it's like, nobody wants to wait on this lady. Like, everybody, you got her, no, you got her. Like, I'm not taking that lady. Anyway, you guys, she exchanged his special gift that he spent all that time. He was so kind, and that he bought for her. It was super, super sad. And I mean, people in the back calling her the B word. I mean, everybody was really not down for this lady. So she really did. She exchanged the gift. Well, years later, I think it was about 7 years ago, after Kent and I got married, he heard me tell this story. And I came home one day, and that little crystal heart was sitting at home. I know, y'all. Give it up for Kent. I mean, but that was it was such a contrast for me. We need to be good at receiving other people's kindness too, even if it isn't exactly what we would have chosen. But when someone is super kind to us, we really need to honor that. And I don't want to be that lady ever, that's for sure. And then I just honor the kindness of listening to someone's story and then doing something kind that speaks into their story. It's so powerful. Really, you don't really get over that. So that's my story for tonight. Let me pray. And I can't wait to see y'all back next week. We have a fun week planned. God, thank you for all the stories that are in this room, for the stories we're going to write tomorrow. I pray that they're beautiful stories of both patience and kindness, and that we'd be people that people take note of because we're wearing that, because that's our signature outfit. In Jesus' name, amen. Love you guys. Thank you for bussing your tables. Please don't carry the candles all at once, blow them out, all the things.